like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one. Only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. My life destroyed. My life destroyed until I walk away.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to True Crime Unraveled. What I would like to get into tonight, well, we've all heard the alternate suspect scenario, the alternate perpetrator, and just by looking at this crime scene, I believe there's more than one perp. Now, a lot of people say no, there's just one perp, one guy, he's in jail. No. That's where I draw the line. He's innocent until proven guilty. And explain to me why they had two unknown male DNAs, unknown male DNA B and unknown male DNA D, way before Brian's name was even on the radar, was even a blip. But instead of uploading these unknown male DNAs B and D to CODIS, they didn't want to upload them because it would get rid of the DNA off the knife sheath. And they didn't want to get rid of the DNA off the knife sheath. In an actual investigation, you pursue every possible avenue with them not wanting to upload male DNA B and D just shows they don't give a rat's ass about this investigation. They don't. Because if they did, they would have uploaded these male DNAs just to see if there was a hit to anybody. And Brett Payne stated on the stand in the closed hearing, well, we could always go back to it. They decided just to go ahead, stick with Koberger. But they could go back to it at a later date. Like, seriously. And now the state is trying to stop Ann Taylor from introducing a alternate perpetrator scenario. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and respectfully moves the court in Lamine for an order prohibiting the defendant from offering alternative perpetrator evidence or argument without first satisfying the court that any such evidence is relevant and admissible pursuant to IRE 401, 402, or 403. In support of the motion, the state refers the court and counsel to State versus Meister, where the Idaho Supreme Court addressed the standard for assessing the admissibility or alternative perpetrator evidence. Implicitly overruled. The proper analysis is under IRE 401, 402, and 403, Idaho at 241, citing to state versus self. The Idaho Supreme Court noted trial court must first consider determine whether the proffered evidence is relevant under the second step is to determine whether the probative value of the proffered evidence is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. This entire case is unfair prejudice. Confusion of the issues or misleading the jury, or by considerations of undue delay, waste of time, or needless uh, presentation of cumulative evidence, noting the Larson court was concerned that a defendant will attempt to admit evidence where the sole purpose is to infer that an individual other than the accused committed the crime. And right there. You have unknown male DNA in the home. We're not talking touch DNA that was on the knife sheath. We're talking legitimate blood DNA of unknown male B and unknown male D. But no, they don't want to test it because they don't want to ruin the touch DNA of the precious knife sheath. That's not how you do a proper investigation. You go down all paths in an investigation, eliminating DNA as you go, eliminating suspects of that said DNA as you go. Not state, oh, well, we'll get back to it later. Come on, man. So, will you get back to it if there's a hung jury or a mistrial or Brian's found not guilty? Will you then get back to it? Or will you just turn around and re-arrest him and retry him? Yeah, I think that's what they would do. A hung jury, a mistrial, or found not guilty, they would rearrest him, retry him, and we would go through all this all over again. In this case, during the course of the investigation, literally thousands of tips regarding possible perpetrators were received by law enforcement, with the exception of information regarding the defendant. None of these tips were substantiated. The state submits that any attempt by the defendant to offer or argue an alternative perpetrator theory without evidence specifically connecting person or persons other than the defendant to the homicides would be nothing more than mislead and confuse the jury, and would also result in undue delay, waste of time, would be a needless presentation of cumulative evidence, and unfairly prejudice the state under the Idaho Supreme Court rule in Meister. This should be prohibited. Basically, what they're trying to do is handcuff the DNAs and dominate the DNAs. Handcuff the defense's hands because they don't want to hear anything else. It's him. It's him. It's him. That's all they think about. Oh, yeah, it's him. Oh, it's him. Oh, it's him. And I read something very interesting earlier this morning in the case summary. It seems like one of the victims' families has kind of got in trouble with the court over a few of their comments about the death penalty and the firing squad. Gee, I wonder who that could be. I don't know, maybe the same couple that wears death penalty T-shirts when they were still in Latah County in John Judge's court. They were wearing death penalty T-shirts. They might got in a little bit of hot water, and that was brought on. That motion was brought on by the state because they don't want the defense using those derogatory comments as a way to how they say it, confuse the jury. But yet they're running around doing their own jury surveys, and that's one of the reasons why the trial got moved to Ada County. But yet, according to the case summary, they're in hot water because of some of their comments about the death penalty and the firing squad. But the state wants to have that motion sealed and redacted because they don't want the defense using that in an alternate scenario to where it would confuse the jury. And they are also trying to stop the defense from bringing up Brian's mental health and his psychiatric evidence. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah prosecuting attorney and respectfully moves that the court for an order in Lamine prohibiting defendant from offering testimony regarding neuropsychological evaluation and psychiatric evaluation of the defendant as summarized in the defendant's January 23rd, 2025 supplemental response to request for discovery regarding expert witnesses. Specifically, the state objects to the proposed testimony of expert witness identified as the defendant's exhibit D7 and D13 appended to defendant supplemental request response to request for discovery regarding expert witnesses. In support of this motion, the state respectfully refers to the court to Idaho Code 18-207, which provides the mental condition shall not be a defense to any charge of criminal conduct except expert evidence on the issues of any state of mind, which is an element of the offense. In each of the witness summaries, defendant D7 and D13, the defendant specifically states the testimony is not intended to be a mental element defense pursuant to Idaho Code 18-207, but rather this testimony is about state of mind as well as a factual defense testimony to anticipated testimony elicited by the state. As such, this proposed testimony falls outside of the mental condition evidence allowable under Idaho Code 18-207. I'm sorry, they're just railroading this guy. They're railroading him. They don't want him to bring up a mental evaluation or psychiatric evaluation. They don't want to bring up the fact that he might have autism. This is just the state and the judge trying to tie the defense's hands or handcuff them to where, just like the state said, there's not more than one perpetrator. The only perpetrator is the guy sitting in the defendant's chair. How do they know there's not more than one perpetrator when they refuse to test unknown male DNA B and D? And I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, but Brett Payne kind of threw you under the bus at that hearing when he said that they didn't want to do it because it would destroy the touch DNA on the knife sheath. Well, I'm sorry, but that was blood evidence. They could and not touch DNA evidence. They could have easily, I mean easily, uploaded these two unknown male DNAs, but find the match to them, see if the matches are in CODIS. But no, they decided to go with the touch DNA of a man who was not in CODIS at all. That, to me, is corruption and a frame job. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel. There's truths in these documents, like little nuggets of truth about what's really going on in Idaho. And I hate to say it, but Mr. Brett Payne put his foot in his mouth the day on the stand when he said there was two unknown male DNAs they refused to test because they didn't want to destroy the attached DNA. If you like this video, please hit the like button. While you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And let me know down in the comment section what you guys think what's going on. Y'all have a good day. And this is True Crime Unraveled. Now I'm out. Peace.